So, with Spider-Man Far From Home, arguably the biggest, Spider-Man movie we're going to be seeing ever, I decided to do, a fun ranking of the Spider-Man movies, at least in my opinion, from worst to best. Now, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. If you think a Spider-Man movie should be higher or lower on the list, that's totally fine. I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Now, another rule that is going to be on here is that I am not going to be featuring... I'm only going to be featuring Spider-Man-centric movies, so I'm not going to have Endgame in here, I'm not going to have Infinity War, nor am I going to do... nor are either of the Venom movies going to be in here. So it's just going to be strictly Spider-Man movies. So as always, if you as always, I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. What Spider-Man movies you think should be higher or lower on the list. And yeah, so we're gonna, like I said, we are gonna start from the bottom and work our way up. So worst to best. Although I'm pretty sure, for most people, most Spider-Man movies are it's either one or the other in terms of favorite Spider-Man movies, but we'll get to that when we come to it. So let's start with the bottom of the barrel. Amazing Spider-Man 2. This isn't really this may come as a shock, but this is just not my favorite Spider-Man movie for a number of reasons. A, I think they showed way too much in the trailers. That was what really hurt this movie. Was I think they showed way too much in the trailers and earned that moniker of Sony showing way too much. It also has multiple storylines of it's trying desperately to set up an entire Sony Spider-Man universe, and nothing is engaging. This was a Spider-Man movie that even I was I want this to end. I really want this to just be over because nothing is interesting. I'm not invested in any of the characters, and it's fucking Spider-Man. It's just not good, and it's trying to do way too much in way too little time, and I just couldn't get behind it. Yeah. I've made it I've even whenever it comes on, I just skip it. That's, yeah. And yeah. Now Andrew Garfield I do like as Peter Parker. He's not my favorite Peter Parker. I wouldn't say I have a favorite Peter Parker. I just I kind of just all enjoy the Spider-Man, and I think Garfield's performance is really good. He's working with what he's got, but everything else in this movie is just no thank you. That's all I could say is just no thank you. Anyway, so there you go. You're probably expecting this movie to be at the bottom of the list. Spider-Man 3. Oh boy. Raimi, you tried everything, and I know you were only working with what Sony demanded of you, so I understand. I know why, Sony was, Sony really got their hands in the cookie jar on this one, and he just wanted to do a story with, he didn't want to do Venom. He just wanted to do Sandman and the New Goblin. That's really it. That's all he wanted to do. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen in any way, shape, or form. Now, there is some good in here. First off, I do think the fight sequences in here, especially the second fight between Spider-Man and Sandman, is really well choreographed and probably one of my favorite comic book fights out there. When Peter's got the black suit on and him fighting Flint Marko in that subway station is really damn good. I think personally it's the highlight of the movie. But yeah, and it is meme worthy. It is the Maguire trilogy has been very well known to be a very meme worthy series of meme worthy films. So yeah, it's a very nice series of very meme-worthy films, so that's something you really have to look at. But everything else about this movie is just bad. Of course, the dancing, Venom, New Goblin, Mary Jane's whole thing, everything was just so bad. But here's the thing, when I was watching this movie, I was I didn't like it, but I was I don't hate this. Spider-Man 3 is a bad movie. Let's not kid ourselves. It's a really bad movie. But at the same time, you gotta hats off to Raimi for working with what he's got. Like, I would watch this just for the memes and also for it being like it's still very stylized, and I think it's a very well shot film. And Thomas Hayden Church is a damn good Sandman, and I really hope I know we're gonna see Sandman in the film, but I really hope they have him in like his human form so we can see Church again. So that'd be really cool. Topher Grace, we don't need you. You can come back as Venom in Far From Home if only Tom Hardy Venom eats you. Anyway. Yeah, what more can I say? This also effectively killed any chance of more Maguire Spider-Man, but Tobey Maguire was probably thankful of that, but that's neither here nor there. So let's move on to our next Spider-Man movie, and that is Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man was the first reboot we had, and Andrew Garfield was really good. It had a lot of promise. It really did have a lot of promise for a film. I really dug the costume. It's very first year costume. Like him and Gwen Stacy had great chemistry. Seeing the Lizard was a lot of fun, but looking back, like, it is a very, like, hastily, let's build a universe kind of film. Like, it's very much Sony trying to be like, let's make our, like, really trying to ride the coattails of being, like, a Marvel franchise while trying to build everything in a Spider-Man universe. Like, it was clearly, like, all the little seeds with, like, Peter's parents and whatnot. It really, like, looking back, it really does show that, and I think it does kind of trip up on itself towards the end. So it's not a bad movie, but I do think like this and Amazing Spider-Man 2 are like, I haven't watched the Amazing Spider-Man movies in a while, like a long while. Like, looking back, I'm like, damn, these were not as good as I thought they were. So from here on out, though, like, these movies are more or less from here on out, these Spider-Man movies are ones I like, and the top ones are the ones I love. So keep that in mind. Even though there's not a lot of Spider-Man movies, so you really got to gauge it. So starting off, we have Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home is an interesting introspective of Peter Parker, like, losing Tony Stark and living in a world of post-5 in the post-snap world, and him dealing with MJ. It really does feel like a classic Spider-Man story of him, like, trying to juggle between being Peter Parker and being Spider-Man. And I think that's one of the few things the MCU Spider-Man has really gotten down, is that Peter Parker wants to be Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but you just can't have it both ways, as we see in what we see in the No Way Home trailers. But at the same time, like, also Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio is a lot of fun. But looking back, like, can we just have Spider-Man villains just be Spider-Man villains and not, like, take their anger out on Spider-Man because he's connected to Tony Stark? Like, that would be nice. Like, look at, like, yeah, that's the one thing that's bothered me about MCU Spider-Man villains, is that, oh, we hate Tony Stark, but we're gonna take their anger out on you. So, yeah. I just want my Spider-Man villains to be Spider-Man villains. Even technically now, with having Ock, Green Goblin, and Sandman, and the other villains we've had in here, they're all coasting off of other Spider-Man villains. Like, they're basically like, yeah, they hate Spider-Man. Yeah, but not this Peter Parker. They're all angry at the other two Spider-Men. So, yeah, it doesn't even feel like Peter Parker's had his own rogues gallery in this universe. Like, I feel like that's been one of the biggest problems with MCU Spider-Man, is that they're all just kind of coasting. Like, they don't feel like Peter's enemies. They really don't. Even, like, if he fights Venom, it's not going to feel like that, because Venom came from this universe and just, like, hey, I don't like you, Spider-Man. Doesn't feel like that. I'm pretty sure it's going to not feel like that with Kraven either, now that I think about it. But all in all, it is still a good movie, and yeah, Mysterio's a lot of fun. But anyway, so moving on, we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, this was Spider-Man's, after Civil War, this was the movie everyone was excited to see. We got Vulture, who was played phenomenally by Michael Keaton. It was a lot of fun to see that. Tony and Peter's partnership is a lot of fun as well. I also really enjoyed just how this is a Peter Parker who is kind of like, like what we've wanted to see from the early Stan Lee era of him, like, just wanting to have a normal life and dealing with those problems. So yeah, it is a good film, but it just gets beaten out by the other remaining films, and you can probably guess what those three are. I mean, what do you expect? Next up, we have Spider-Man, the first Raimi Spider-Man movie. Yeah, this was the Spider-Man movie we all gravitate towards. This is for the memes. It's a great Spider-Man film. It's a well shot film. This is the movie Sam Raimi really wanted to make. This is the film that really kicked off, like, well, technically it was Blade who kicked off the superhero movies, but it was more like Blade opened the door. Spider-Man kicked open the door, but gotta give respect to Blade first and foremost. But like I was saying, this is a great film. It was excellently cast in all aspects. I'm still not a big fan of the organic webbing. I will say that I'm just not a fan of organic webbing. It's stupid. But yeah, in terms of everything else, this is a near perfect superhero movie. But there is another, like, of course, the first movie was good. Spider-Man 2 was better. Like, Spider-Man 2 is, like, probably one of the best Spider-Man movies ever. And it's a perfect film. This is what got me to really love the character of Dr. Octavius, and for those who don't know, Dr. Octopus is my favorite Spider-Man villain, and this is probably where it all came from. So to see Alfred Molina back for No Way Home is just a ton of fun. It's a great film. There's just great storytelling in here. I think, like I said, this is like New Hope, and like Spider-Man 1's New Hope. Spider-Man 2 is Empire Strikes Back, where it's taking a good movie and making an even epic sequel, taking everything that was good and making it better in the next movie. So yeah, but you've probably guessed what my favorite Spider-Man movie is, and for the longest time, Spider-Man 2 was the top of the list. Like, Spider-Man 2 was the top of the list, and then one December several years ago, I went into a movie theater on New Year's Eve to watch the best damn Spider-Man movie ever. And it's honestly a movie I'm more excited for than No Way Home. Like, that sequel is what I'm more excited for than No Way Home. And that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This movie I thought I was going to hate, honestly, because it was trying to do like a Spider-Verse, and we're trying to tell Miles' origin too, but we're also dealing with multiverse and multiple Spider-Man. Like, initially I was like, Sony, this is not going to go well. I mean, the animation looks really cool, but like, then I shut the hell up and watched this movie, and I was like, not only do they intrinsically tie the multiverse stuff with how Spider-Man, like Miles deals with being Spider-Man, it's a beautiful interweaving of that, and the animation is phenomenal. Like, it looked good in the trailers, but then when you see it in the theater, like, you see it in the movie, and it's like, holy shit. Also, I'm gonna say it, the Spider-Man soundtrack, the Spider-Verse soundtrack is like probably one of the best movie soundtracks I've ever heard, because that soundtrack, like, I think it beats out Black Panther's soundtrack. Just saying. I mean, that's just me. If you, that's just my personal opinion. All of the characters are handled with respect. There's phenomenal voice acting across the board. This movie made me cry a few times. Like, there was a few points where I was just emotionally hit, and that was something that's never really happened in a lot of movies with me, especially a superhero movie. And to do it in an animated form is great. I think it is by far the best Spider-Man movie ever. And it's not even like Peter Parker's the co-star. It's all about Miles. So, yeah. Yeah. Just Spider-Verse. It's the perfect Spider-Man movie, in my opinion. And I hope Across the Spider-Verse will expand on that. Like, it will be a great movie as well, but we gotta wait for that. But so you guys tell me in the comments below. You guys tell me in the comments below. How would you rank the Spider-Man movies from however you want them to? Like, where did the Spider-Man movies rank for you so far? Just comment below, let me know. As always, hope you all enjoyed this. If you haven't already, go check out the link in the description below to my Patreon, and join. If you hit the 4th tier, you guys can send me messages for requests to do here on YouTube. So yeah, just go ahead and do that. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.